Okay, you've probably seen a headline like this floating around the internet. Women in Europe are renting husbands. It sounds completely wild, right? Something straight out of a movie. But is there actually any truth to it? Let's dig in and find out what's really going on.
So let's just cut to the chase. Is this a real thing? Are women actually signing up for temporary partners? The short answer, well, it might just surprise you. The answer is yes, it's happening. But, and this is a huge but, it is absolutely not what you're thinking. This has nothing to do with romance or relationships. The reality is way more practical and, frankly, a lot more interesting than those crazy headlines would have you believe.
So where did this whole thing even come from? Well, it turns out this story starts in one specific country, Latvia. News reports started surfacing about these services with a very, very clickable name, Husband for an Hour.
Okay, so what are these Husband for an Hour services actually offering? Let's separate the viral myth from the much simpler reality. All right, here's the breakdown. The myth, the viral story, was that women were renting romantic partners. The reality? It's just a handyman service. Yep, people are hiring someone to fix a leaky pipe, assemble some furniture, or hang a shelf. It's not about romance, it's about repairs.
But that still leaves one big question, right? Why the clever name? I mean, why call a handyman service Husband for an Hour? Well, the answer to that actually lies in a pretty surprising demographic fact about Latvia.
Get this, according to official stats, Latvia has a pretty significant gender imbalance. For every 100 women in the country, there are only about 86 men.
And this imbalance shapes the entire population. You can see right here that women make up a clear majority. But the really critical detail, the part that explains everything, is that this gap isn't spread evenly across all age groups.
And here is the absolute key to the whole story. This isn't really about the dating scene for people in their 20s. No, the gender gap absolutely explodes among older citizens. For Latvians over the age of 65, women vastly outnumber men, and that demographic reality is what created the market for these services. Now, you might be thinking this is just some weird isolated thing happening in Latvia, but it's not. It's actually part of a much broader global pattern, a demographic shift that happens over the course of our lives. You see, globally, the gender ratio follows a really predictable path. At birth, a few more boys are born than girls. By young adulthood, though, the numbers pretty much even out. But then the scale starts to tip. And by the time you reach age 80 and beyond, the ratio can become extreme, sometimes reaching 2 women for every 1 man. It's a complete demographic reversal over a lifetime.
So let's connect this all back to our Husband for Rent story. You see, it was never about a dating crisis for young people. The real story is about a longevity and care gap, and it's a gap that primarily affects the elderly. The reasons for this gap are pretty well known. On a global average, women live about 5 to 7 years longer than men. Men also tend to have higher mortality rates from certain health conditions, lifestyle choices, and sometimes riskier jobs. And all of this creates a very practical problem, a care gap for the huge number of older women who outlive their partners and might need a little help with everyday tasks.
And the numbers, when you look at the 80-plus population, are just staggering. In places like Russia, Latvia, and Lithuania, the ratio is about 2 women for every 1 man. In Japan, it's nearly the same. This isn't an anomaly, it's a widespread global reality.
So, the most important takeaway from all of this is really clear. The most dramatic gender imbalance that shapes our societies isn't found in the dating pool for 30-year-olds. It's a demographic reality that truly emerges after the age of 80.
And so we've come full circle. That viral headline was designed to get a click, to shock you. But the truth is so much more profound. This was never a story about marriage. It's a story about demographics and about how societies quietly and sometimes cleverly adapt to the simple fact that people are living longer than ever before.